you should be there.
We also found that there are reasonable grounds to believe that conflict-related sexual violence, including rape and gang rape, occurred during the 7th of October attacks in at least 3 locations, namely the Nova Music Festival site and its surroundings, Road 232, and Kibbutz Reim. And in most of these incidents, victims were first subjected to rape and then killed, and at least 2 incidents relate to the rape of women's corpses. With regard to the hostages taken to Gaza, we found clear and convincing information that sexual violence, including rape, sexualized torture, cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment, has been committed against captives. And we also have reasonable grounds to believe that such violence may still be ongoing against those still held in captivity. I pause and must add that I am of the strong opinion that this finding does not in any way legitimize further violence, but actually reinforces the need for an urgent ceasefire.
On behalf of the United Nations Correspondents Association.
Coming to my visit to the occupied West Bank, with regard to that visit, whose purpose was different, considering that we have UN-verified information on conflict-related sexual violence, which will be, as I mentioned, included in the annual report of the Secretary General, we nevertheless received, whilst there, from several interlocutors, information about cruel, inhuman, and degrading treatment of Palestinians, men and women in detention, also under the administrative detention, including sexual violence in the forms of invasive body searches, threats of rape, and prolonged forced nudity.
First, you used the words reasonable ground.
In the report, I have made a number of recommendations, including encouraging the government of Israel to grant access to the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights and the Independent International Commission of Inquiry to conduct a fully fledged independent investigations, calling on Hamas to immediately and unconditionally release all individuals held in captivity and to ensure their protection, including from sexual violence, encouraging the government of Israel to consider signing a framework of cooperation with my office to strengthen capacity on justice and accountability for conflict-related sexual violence, but also security sector engagement, training, and oversight to prevent and address conflict-related sexual violence.
Of standards in terms of how you deal with events of such type. As the SRSG has mentioned,
I must stress that my mission was neither intended nor mandated to be investigative in nature. This is a mandate vested in other UN bodies. Prior to the mission, the scope and parameters of the visit were agreed in advance with the Israeli authorities, the objective being to gather, analyze, and verify reports of conflict-related sexual violence related to the Hamas-led terror attacks of 7th of October and in their aftermath, in order to inform reporting in the exercise of my mandate, including to the UN Security Council.
Maybe were subject to sexual violence and then they were killed after that.
Following an invitation that I received from the government of Israel to first-handedly, I quote, hear and see the testimonies and evidence of these heinous acts of conflict-related sexual violence, I led an official visit to Israel from the 29th of January to the 14th of February. And I was supported by a technical team with relevant expertise, such as a forensic pathologist and a digital and open source information analyst, in addition to specialists in the safe and ethical interviewing of victim survivors and witnesses of sexual violence crimes.
This year, the UN and UN Women's silence in the face of Hamas sexual violence turned International Women's Day into a sick joke. This is the peak of the UN's hypocrisy. The UN claims to care about women. Yet, as we speak, right now, Israeli women are being raped and abused by Hamas terrorists. Where is the UN's voice? Where is your voice? Colleagues, I call on the Secretary General and the Security Council to convene immediately to finally condemn Hamas's heinous crimes. Hamas must face unrelenting pressure to end their sexual violence and release all of the hostages immediately.